David Barkley's wife had no idea. The man she had been married to for 20 years was an addict.
Probably around 16 is when it started. Just hanging out with the wrong group of guys, getting in trouble, started smoking weed and drinking, and then I guess I was introduced to painkillers when I was about 32 years old, and that started me down just a total road of destruction that led to crack cocaine, crystal meth, opiates, alcohol, anything I could ingest into my system that would fill that empty void. I was pulled over. One day I'd been set up, and overnight basically was looking at 20 years in prison for some drug charges. Because of that, I lost my business.
I take my daughter to church every Sunday and had asked David to go, and he always had other things to do.
Finally, one day, Sandy talked me into going to a church service. Dr. Day, and he was doing a service on, I don't really remember what he was talking about, but I do remember at the end of it, he wrapped it up. He had an egg in one hand and a tennis ball in the other, and he asked the question, are you gonna crash like this egg, or are you gonna bounce back like this tennis ball? And something about that statement, the only statement I remembered in the whole church service. On the way home, I grabbed my wife's hand and admitted to her that I had more issues wrong with me than she thought, that I had been hiding a lot of things from her.
He grabbed my hand in the car after this church service and was, it just touched me because he hadn't done that in so long. And for him to grab my hand, I was like, wow, he's actually grabbing my hand. He hasn't done that in so long. And I guess I'd kind of forgotten that he hadn't been that touchy-feely kind of person in a long time. I didn't relate it to drugs or anything, but we got home and he said he had something to tell me, and he told me that he was addicted to painkillers. Well, I really just started laughing, just kind of blew it off, and didn't realize he was serious until I turned around and saw that he was sobbing, and it devastated me. I just couldn't believe that something like that was going on and I didn't know about it.
In November of 2002, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I just started working for Wes Usay. And for the next 8 months, I worked for Wes until eventually it was obvious that I had a drug problem. And he asked me if I needed help. And I said, I've been begging for it. I just didn't know where to ask. And he told me about this place here.
Me and my daughter drove David out here to Eagle Creek, dropped him off, and when we left, we just looked at each other and we really just started crying, but we knew that they were going to be able to help him.
Over the next couple months, I mean, the definite transformation took place in my life. I accepted Jesus Christ right here in the prayer room. God really came into my heart and filled every crack and crevice and void in my heart. And that is the day right there when I finally believed and understood that God was in control and he was in my life. He was in my heart, and he loved me. And that day, my life changed forever. I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life, and I just can't wait to see what God's going to do.